Hi everyone. This is the collective reading for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. This is Treya Tarot. Welcome in. I hope everybody's doing well. Today's been a little strange so far. I definitely feel something happening that is not necessarily the most steady of sensations. So something's in flux. Let's see what we have. I'm going to be doing today's reading a little bit differently. I'm going to take my main cards from this deck, the Luna deck, and then I'll be clarifying with the Morgan-Greer. Two of Wands, Five of Swords, Six of Swords, and the Tower. Let's start with these. Okay, so actually I can put this over here. So the Two of Wands, the courage to go out and get what you want. Oh, this definitely feels a little heavy. I'll say that. The Two of Wands, there's a hopefulness there. There's also sort of an anxiety of how are you going to accomplish something. I always found the Two of Wands kind of interesting because, like in the Morgan-Greer deck, there's a globe in it, and it has a lot to do with being able to see the possibility that you have in front of you as opposed to just your narrow view of what's open in terms of opportunity. The Five of Cups tells me that something's getting lost. There's an opportunity lost, or a wish from the past that gets lost here. But it's necessary. It has to get lost so that you can move away from that difficulty into a fresh start. I'll say there's one thing about this tower that I find that's resonating different for me than it usually does. And that's because it's following the Six of Swords. It seems like this is the type of tower that pulls down false structures that you're ready to let go of, as opposed to false structures that you're still relying on. That Six of Swords tells me that you've already let go to some extent. So there's not as much heartache here, even though these cards are traditionally difficult. The Five of Cups, again, like in yesterday's reading, he just needs to turn around. So the real option, the thing that's really available and really worth it to pursue, to continue with, is still right behind us. It's still backing us up. It's still present, however it is you want to express that. But let's put some clarifiers on these Two of Wands. Let's see what's going on. Again, there have been themes the past few days, specifically of cycles relating specifically to patterns that we have encountered or engaged in over and over and over again. With that Queen of Pentacles influence, it tells me that it's, we think we're doing it for the right reasons. There's some pattern here that we're engaging in because we think it's the right way to be, but it's clearly always putting us in the same position over and over again. So that Two of Wands, that hopefulness, that, what are my potentials and my possibilities, is coming in as sort of this tempering influence to the Queen of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. So it's, can I see another way? Is there another way to approach this old story that we're experiencing? The Hierophant. There could definitely be some manipulation involved here. There could be another person. The Hierophant tells me that this could be showing up in marriages or long-term relationships where either a divorce is happening or a split of some kind. But it seems like this relationship, this persistence, is too fraught with conflict and tension. That Seven of Swords is always interesting to me because it can show up in a lot of different ways and capacities. It can be about disarming an enemy in an effort to end a conflict. It can be about lying and deceit. It can be about stealing. It can be about a lot of those different topics. Next to the Hierophant like this and the Five of Cups, I think this is about something going unsaid that is being hidden on purpose. Okay, so there's a contract here. There's a truth that may need to be revealed at some point, although that's not really coming up. The Tower tells me it could potentially show up. Something's not been exposed yet or revealed. There's definitely something coming to light this week that might be a little uncomfortable. All right, so that's Six of Swords I love to see with the Nine of Pentacles and the Two of Swords, mostly because this kind of rings of a bit of self-empowerment. There's some self-trust definitely coming into the picture. So on a collective level, I could see us seeing what's happening on the world stage and feeling the sense of all of the old structures that we relied on as true are just not showing up to be as concrete or real or honest as we thought they were. This can be happening in our personal lives, in our collective lives. But there's some steadiness within us individually. It seems that the intent, how do I say this? It's almost as though the outside reflection and the inside reflection are totally different. But it's because of the outside reflection that we're growing and empowering ourselves in the way we are. So even though we aren't sure exactly what we're looking at yet, this Two of Swords, we're not really sure which way to go or how to process the information or anything like that, we have a strong basis internally. We are orienting ourselves to our true north, so to speak, in the midst of some very difficult material, personally and collectively. And I feel like the Tower almost might come as a relief. Like I said earlier, it felt a little different to see it with the Nine of Cups. I think the structures that we're letting go of, the things that are not working for us, we're already aware of, and we already know we have to let go. And we're excited to let go, some of us, I would say. So this may not be nearly as difficult or painful as the Tower can sometimes be. In a way, that Tower and Saturn, the Saturn retrograde we're experiencing, seem to be sort of mutual influences in that way. Making sure that you're paying really close attention to what's actually real for you versus what you built to survive contexts that you don't really fit in, or relationships you don't fit in, or work environments you don't fit in. It's time for us to build a new world, you know? All right. I'm going to pull another layer of these, and then we're going to clarify one more time. Once we get that new idea, it's so interesting. Once we get that new idea, I don't think there's much that can keep us from taking action on that. That Queen of Swords, she doesn't play around. She knows which direction she needs to go in, and she cuts out all the needless chatter in the background. The Knight of Cups, movement towards that fulfilling thing. The Ten of Swords, staring directly at the way in which you've always participated in the difficulty. The Ten of Swords is, can be such a harrowing image. It can bring up fear in people sometimes when they see it. And the thing about the Ten of Swords is, like in the Morgan-Greer or the Rider-Waite deck, there's a dawning happening in the background. The breakthrough is implied in the card. So the end of this big detrimental pattern that we're all part of is upon us. We are changing things. The Page of Wands, there's that, how do we change it? How do we create a more imaginative, more fulfilling world, more fulfilling lives? What do we actually need? There's your questions. Although I have a feeling for some people, these influences might show up as people, as somebody who, Queen of Swords energy can show up as somebody who has had enough of your crap. Or as some of us will end up in that role, you know, Knight of Cups can show up as, you know, blissfully ignorant young people in a way, in that delightful way where they're just running towards whatever it is they think they're invested in. And that can be a hopeful influence as well. That Page of Wands, though, that's the card that's kind of haunting me. The Knight of Swords and Strength tell me that... Ooh, almost lost a card there. The Knight of Swords and Strength tell me that once the Queen makes her decision, there is nothing but to get started. Understanding the ways in which you've defeated any sort of... Wow, these cards are just falling all over the place right now. I wonder if getting interrupted is part of the message. There's definitely a distracted quality to some of this energy that I'm feeling. But the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Swords and Strength are so much more directed that I feel like once we get our answer, we're just off. We're just moving. Off and running towards whatever it is that we know will change the experience for us. It's funny. It's almost like we lose hope to return to it. You know, the Magician and the Three of Wands clarifying the Knight of Cups. So that Knight of Cups is making actual movement towards something they want. That they're making intuitive movement even. So the kind of following your gut towards this, even if it's a nebulous goal, it's still a fulfillment-based goal. It's still something close to your heart. The Magician making something that's nebulous real. And the Three of Wands is about not waiting anymore for things to come to you, but going out and getting them, or at least showing up in that halfway participation role where you're meeting the energy of the universe to manifest it as an empowered person. That's why I like the Three of Wands, because, you know, he's standing there waiting because he can see it. He can see what's coming into his life, into his experience on the horizon, but it's just taking a really long time to get to him. And there's a decision process in that card of like, maybe it's time I just get up. I just get up and go towards it. Again, these Swords cards. I'm happy to see these Swords cards because there's some real strong, I'm not doing this anymore energy. I'd rather have that over there in all of these cards. And I think we're ready. I think we're really ready, both collectively and personally, to find things that feel a little bit more aligned and fulfilling than what we've experienced in the past. The Ace of Swords and the Moon. Once this change occurs, once you make that decision to move on from the old way that you've been doing things, or the old relationship that isn't working, or the job that doesn't actually fulfill you in any way, once you actually make that decision, you might feel a little weird about it, and it might feel a little bit off. It seems like the moon shows up right now in my readings to note that feeling of I'm doing something unfamiliar and I'm uncomfortable with it. But traditionally the moon is just about needing to walk down the murky path, so to speak, like needing to see through the uncertain situation so that you get to that full knowledge, that full understanding of your intuition. What it is you're sensing does have an end point, and the moon helps you get there, but it helps you get there by getting comfortable with the undefined. Okay, the Page of Wands, man. That Page of Wands brings balance to sternness, you know, that sort of imaginative, creative, you know, what can I do? What am I capable of? What are my possibilities? Energy seems to be tempering some very intense energy. I'll say it that way. The Emperor is very intense right now. He's been showing up a lot from my personal readings, and I'm sure that other people may be experiencing that too, the Emperor is amazing for stability, but he is also an inflexible influence in a lot of ways. So I feel like the Page of Wands energy, especially relating to the Tower, the Page of Wands gives you some flexibility in a situation where you're more likely to just put up some serious rigid walls or boundaries. So keep in mind that if you come up against anything over today, next few days, this week, as we start to get accustomed to this Saturn energy, that it's helpful to remember to stay as flexible as you can, even when your instinct is to be like, no, absolutely not, I'm not doing that, no thank you, please leave me, go away. When you are more inclined to shut something down, or more inclined to create a false dichotomy, or put yourself at odds with the circumstance, person, or feeling you're experiencing, that the best way to get through that would be to stay as open as you can. Not open to other people's stuff, not open as, letting anything happen. I mean, follow your gut. Stay open to the potential that this will move through just as quickly as it showed up. Try not to make assumptions. Make your decisions based from a self-empowered place. The part of you that knows what you need. That's where you should be making your decisions from, that kind of thing. That's what these cards say to me. It's, you will weather this storm if you remember who you are, and you don't jump into conflict with forces and people and situations that aren't going to hear you. So, all right, one more row. Let's see if I can keep all of these cards actually in place. Nine of Cups. I'm glad to have seen the Nine of Cups twice so far, because there's definitely, a little bit of relief in that. Nine of Cups, Four of Swords, Ten of Wands, Three of Wands. Some of these cards are repeats from the past few days, and I think that's interesting because as we get closer and closer to the moment where we drop the pattern, Ten of Wands, where we drop that old burden that isn't ours, as we get closer to this, it seems like we go from conflict or difficulty to self-empowerment to relief in a pretty progressive way. So Nine of Cups, contentment, wish fulfillment. Four of Swords, putting something to rest. Ten of Wands is putting down those burdens of other people, the things we were given that aren't necessarily in alignment with who we are. And the Three of Wands, again, that Three of Wands, getting out there, interacting in the world, taking a chance, going for what it is you want, knowing that it's coming towards you. So there's some manifestation influences there that I really like. Let's see. I feel like this is our breakthrough week, and I know I've said that yesterday and today, and maybe even last week. I think I said something similar. By the end of this week, I think we'll all be a lot clearer on what that means. Something that we've all, either personally or collectively, really hoped for is coming. But it's taking us facing some really, things that might give us the ick. There's some unsettling here, but there's also this sense of, this is not who I am, and I will not participate, and so I'm going to go do the thing I really want instead. So there's beautiful energy in that. There's that Two of Wands again. See, with the globe. The thing about this Two of Wands that I like is there's extra help involved. In the other deck, everything is almost singular in that card, but the Two of Wands in Morgan-Greer offers help. So we're not alone, not really, even if we feel like we are. There are other people I love seeing that at the end of a complicated or complex reading. We're not alone. There is hope. There is something real to orient our hope on, but it doesn't seem to be the thing we think it is. And when we find out what it is that we can actually orient our hope on, it's going to actually create all the flow. So anything that's blocked comes in when we realize what we can ground ourselves with, what to focus on. So the issue that's coming up today is, what do we focus on? If it's familiar, it might not be the right one, right thing. If it's hopeful but seems nebulous to you, explore it. And I'm speaking of the concepts or ideas, obviously follow your gut in any situation. That Ace of Pentacles, especially in that particular row, tells me that the new reality sets in. The minute we drop the expectations of others, the ideas and concepts that we were given, the new reality is just there for us. I don't know if you can hear in the background, there's construction or something happening, and there's like this very metallic ringing sound. It sounds a lot like a church bell chiming. It's very interesting. I don't know how that would reflect on what I'm saying, but I noticed it. So that Two of Cups as a closing point. We're all potentially getting to the point where our experience of being here is going to be a lot more mutually receptive. Whoever it is, whatever group of people I'm picking up on, whether this is on a grand scale or a very personal, individual one, some of us are heading towards a much more authentic, much more pleasant way of existing in the world with other people, with our purpose. And this is the week where we make that turning point, in my opinion. So hopefully you get your turning point. I only ever really wish the best for everyone. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great day. And I know this is, a lot of us are going through some weird stuff, but we are actually all in this together. See you soon.